And our protocols bring back homeostasis so that the organ just reverses and regenerates back to the healthy version that maybe some of us weren't even born with, actually. Now that health has been so impacted, mom's health, baby health. So that's what I'm really excited to share about. So today we're talking about some specific conditions, urinary tract infections, and a resultant condition where there's calcification in the bladder, irritation at the bladder. It's called interstitial cystitis. So our objective today is to go over the bladder microbiota, known also as the urobiome ecosystem. We're going to review both the healthy state and the dysbiotic states and what makes it that way, the microbiome as well as the microbiome, and some protocols for that. We're going to review some probiotics that work for bladder health. We're going to go over the proposed uses for probiotics for UTI and interstitial cystitis treatment and prevention, and look at some of the evidence. Understand the influence of how medical peptides can help to regenerate the bladder. What are the indications, safety, efficacy, potential adverse effects, contraindications, monitoring, routes of administration, and dosages of TA1, KPV, kisspeptin, BPC 157, thymosin beta 4. We're going to look particularly identify physiological systems where BPC 157 and TB4 are shown to be regenerative for the gut and topical, and maybe theorize for the bladder. So again, our goal really is seeing how homeostasis can get better. We, always want to not hurt anyone by overdoing anything. And maybe practitioners who've been in this realm, you could have been like me at some point, you overdo something. So our key is to stay where it's really healing and in homeostasis, and not create more of a problem like loss of beneficial microbes. And with these protocols, we're going to be naturally increasing diversity and preventing and inhibiting pathogen expansions. That's our key for today. So here's some short links. I went over these briefly at the beginning. Join our Facebook group. It's going to be called Peptide Intelligence. We'll email you more information about that. If you have any questions about wholesale, we do have a special. Like if you want to consider buying 5, you'll get a bottle free of any of our probiotics, or even our Dragon Mojo for adrenals. So check that out. So today, we're really deep diving into the bladder. And the bladder experts, they've had this theory about the leaky urothelium and how this actually does tie in with the leaky gut endothelium. And I feel this is true for the whole body, right? We know often when someone has leaky gut, they have not just bloating, but also brain fog. They have leaky brain. And if we look at the brain and the bladder, the vaginal and the gut axis, they're all connected. We're finding more and more studies that show that. And there's going to be 1 or 2 studies I'll go over today that make that link. So when we can heal our gut, we can't ignore it. And that's the purpose of today's slides and protocols also. We can't ignore the gut. If we ultimately want to heal the bladder, we have to also focus on the gut, not neglect it, which is what a lot of modern medicine does. So how does the bacterial flora in the bladder exist there? Where does it come from? Where's the origin? So there's some good studies on that. And for women, researchers have discovered with a recent study, it proposed the origin of the urinary microbiota is the gut. These authors show that 64% of species identified in the urine using culture and 16S rRNA gene sequencing, which this is our next gen methods, overlap with identified species in the gut microbiota, while only 31% overlap with species isolated from the vagina. Actually, I've seen other studies, even as high as 67% are from the gut, are core, and they overlap. So additionally, these researchers are concluding the reduction of UTI incidence after fecal microbiota transplant seems to support this hypothesis. So it's like they went the other way around, healed the gut first, and then UTIs went down. So that's my goal. We help people absolutely abort recurrent UTI, as well as pain, recurrent bladder pain and interstitial cystitis, by focusing on the gut, not with a fecal microbiota transplant, but pretty close. When we use probiotics such as our powder, Biofilm Maximus, and we get to 7 capsules a day, or Microbiome Mojo, 7 capsules a day. That's 700 billion CFUs. We're getting really close to a fecal microbiota transplant dose, which is about a quarter cup of poop. So poop is really healing, but I think we can do better. Well, not better, but we can do, equally good with something as potent as Microbiome Mojo or Biofilm Maximus. Really crazy good, right? Now, how about the microbiome? We know the bladder is super infected and colonized, invaded by fungi. And how have they discovered more about the origin? Well, they actually haven't. I couldn't find anything. I kind of dug a little bit briefly and have not seen too much. So it's kind of an emerging field, but again, with next-gen sequencing, we really didn't even see much until recently, the last 10 years.